Alright everybody, so we're just going to go over some of the changes that they made in this latest patch to the PTR. It went out today, or I guess right now, today is actually July 22nd because it's past midnight where I am, but July 21st, they issued a new patch for the PTR 2.3. With it came a wipe, so all of our seasonal progress that we had made, all of our gear that we farmed up, all that got wiped away. Mostly because there were some bugs with the seasonal transition, like crafted gear had no level requirements and crazy things like that. So, they wanted to get that experience tested out in a proper environment. So it kind of made sense for the wipe. It's a bit of a bummer because we have to farm up again, but so be it. I'm gonna quickly just run through some of the stuff that's changed, and it's highlighted in red now. Previously it wasn't, so that made it kind of tough, but now it is, which is good. So let's go through. This change is pretty obvious. Kanai's Cube can now only convert items of sets with a minimum of 3 pieces, because before people were basically just taking like Bolkathos set or Focus and Restraint and basically just go back and forth, like keep transmuting it in the cube until you got the one you wanted, until it was ancient and all that stuff. So it was a really cheap way to kind of reforge. So this makes sense. A lot of people were saying like maybe up the cost for the 2 set pieces, but I think just excluding them makes a lot more sense. Torment 7 and 10, Torment 7 through 10 can only be accessed by level 70 characters, okay. This is interesting right here. Torment 7 to 10 games, public games have to have a certain Paragon level before you can get in there, which is kind of cool. So, they're making it so you can't really like leech off of people or be in there when you're not experienced enough to be in there. Because basically Paragon level just equates to like time, experience, etc. So it's kind of cool. Paragon level for 7 is 100, and it goes up by 50 per, so up to 250 to get into Torment X. Yes, so in chat, Teach Me How to Doge is asking if there's the formula for reforging just a regular legendary, and yes, there is one. That's the one that costs 50 Forgotten Souls. It's super expensive, but it should be. That one's really impactful, so yeah, that does exist. Let's see here. Torment 7 through 10 are getting new gold find bonuses, which is good, I suppose. It's not. I don't think anyone's starving for gold, but why not have more, I guess. So this is interesting. There's a bug fix where they fixed an issue that prevented all players in a game from receiving a bonus cash. I did see that was an issue, but there actually seems to be a new issue right now from some of the people in chat who've been reporting in that when you start a bonus act, it changes every hour, so it literally is changing on the hour. So like if you start one at 8:50 but you don't complete all the bounties until like 9:05 or something, you actually lose the bonus for that act, so you don't get the bonus cash even though you were starting to do the all the different bounties before the hour changed. Like you were in Act 2 because Act 2 was the bonus at the time and you started it. So it seems like the simple change there is just lock it in as soon as you do like one bounty, or even once the game starts. Once you like go into a game and it picks that one random act for you, it stays that bonus act until you complete it. It's okay if it changes when you're outside of the game, but changing inside like on that, it's kind of crazy. So hopefully that gets fixed. Helltooth set for Witch Doctor has received a bunch of changes. I kind of just gloss over them because you can like read them on screen and stuff anyway. So like Helltooth Harness 6 set now applies to the skills cast by Grin Reaper mimics, which is cool. They fixed some issues with the dot from the Wall of Death, etc., etc. They fixed a Spirit of Erekir 4-set damage bonus. Let's see. Fixed issue. This one was an interesting one. I thought this was on purpose, that they just upped the repair cost of items because there was so much gold in the economy in quotes. So I thought it was just going to be like, just make stuff cost more to repair to kind of sink gold, but I guess that was a bug, so it's not going to cost as much now, which is fine. Let's see. Apparently there was an issue that prevented items created by Kanai's Cube from being account bound, so that's kind of crazy. Like if you found an item, you just do something to it in the cube and then be able to trade it again. Pretty crazy, so I guess that's a good fix. They fixed an issue that allowed players to upgrade rare items lower than level 70 to legendary, so you have to have a level 70, Crusader Shield flail, whatever have you, in order for it to work with that recipe. I think that's actually going to be a really strong recipe early in the season. When you're looking for like that Johanna's argument or Guard of Johanna, like being able to just take a Crusader shield, and it's a pretty cheap recipe. It only takes like some of the mats that you would be collecting anyways with your yellows and your blues and your whites and stuff, and some Death's Breath, so definitely a strong one to pay attention to. Fix an issue that caused crafted, so this is the one I mentioned previously. Crafted items didn't have a level requirement, so seasonal stuff was just like people leveled up their blacksmith to as high as possible, then just crafted like level 65, 60, 70 stuff or whatever, and then from like level 20 on you're using that. It's just like gimping the content. Fixed an issue that prevented canonized cube recipes with working with follower items. Alright, it's fine change. Further adjustments were made to the amount of progress that monsters grant in Nephilim and Greater Rifts. This is something that obviously we'll have to go in and test quite a bit just to see if it feels like it's working the way it's supposed to. I know a lot of people are like tormented stingers, the bees that shoot bees, like they were still not giving a lot of progress for being as difficult as they are to kill. The Act 5 mobs seem to be giving quite a bit of progress, maybe more than they should have, like just across the board for all of them. I know they are the toughest monsters in the game, but it just seemed like no matter what, if it was an Act 5 mob, it was just like you wanted a room kind of full of them, honestly, like full of the easy skeletons or something from Act 5. So we'll see what kind of adjustments they made there. Rift Guardian health was slightly increased, so you can tell they're still playing around with those numbers and things like that. Stonesinger just got a bunch of changes for himself. He has a specific animation for his knockback attack. I actually just experienced it right before I started this video. It was kind of cool. He like knocked me back, but also ran forward with me. It was interesting. The distance of the knockback is reduced. He has fissures that spawn faster as he loses his health, and they reduce the fissure duration. But the fissures constantly fire mortars now. It gets pretty crazy. I don't know if you guys have fought Stonesinger at high Greater Rifts yet, but he's definitely no longer a pushover, and those mortar things are pretty insane. They do a lot of damage, and obviously if they're firing all the time, it's going to be pretty tough to avoid. You can see a lot of stuff here. That's previous changes. All the stuff in red is the new changes. Swords to Plowshares got a change, and so now it also heals your pets, which is cool. It doesn't make the globes anymore. I think it just gives you like healing on crit or something like that. Threatening Shout. This is right before I started this video. I was actually thinking like, support Barb? Is that going to be a thing now? Maybe. So, enemies take 30% increased damage from all sources for 6 seconds. So it's definitely strong. Definitely very strong. Threatening Shout it has a very short cooldown too, as you can see on screen. So, Shout Barbs, maybe they're making a comeback. Some changes to No Escape. Relentless, resource cost reduction, reduced, interesting, 50%. Doubles your life per spirit spent while active. Okay, so it's kind of changed some things around. Let's see, Falling Sword, like we were actually just testing this before I started talking about the patch changes here. And so you arrive at your targeted location sooner after casting Falling Sword, and you can now cast again sooner after casting Falling Sword. And this is definitely a marked improvement on what we were experiencing before this. Before it was like a really sluggish skill. Now it definitely casts faster, and you can move like almost instantly after landing. I was able to like do Falling Sword and then hit the horse and move like instantly. So definitely an improved change. Some people are thinking it could move quite a bit faster, move in the direction of improving it even more so, but we'll see. It's just good that they're willing to make the changes and listen to that feedback from the community. Let's see, you can cast Acid Clouds sooner after casting Acid Cloud. Some damage buffs here. Damage from individual blobs stack on the Lob Blob Bomb skill. We're going to say that 5 times fast. Big Bad Voodoo has a reduction of damage taken, which is interesting. A little bit of support there. Fire Bats. It looks like they're trying to improve Fire Bats again. I remember at the end of Vanilla, I think we were talking about this, like it was getting improved, and it was kind of the strongest spec for Witch Doctors, and so this almost seems like a throwback to trying to really make it a thing again. The channeling mana cost is increased, but they reduced the initial mana cost to 0. That's removed, so that's kind of cool. It's just a channeling cost spell now. Reduce the channeling duration for Cloud of Bats. Required to reach maximum damage, so I guess it just ramps up like a lot faster. Hungry Bats got damage increase per bat, damage increase on plague bats, reduce the channeling duration so you get to the max faster. Grasp of the Dead had its damage pumped up. Cooldown is reduced on the Desperate Grasp rune. Grasping Eels got its damage pumped up, and Unbreakable Grasp has no mana cost. So you can see they're like really dedicated to making the Witch Doctor come out of this patch like really strong. Like look at the list of changes that they had initially, and also the changes that they continue to get. Like it really needs. I think the Witch Doctor is like, it would be a big misstep if we leave the PTR for patch 2.3 and the Witch Doctors aren't just like somewhat godlike. Like they need at least one set that's going to really carry them forward, more so than their Dagger of Darts build right now, because they're losing that huge support spec for them. So if you take one thing away, you definitely have to give them another thing for sure. Let's see. Damage area has been increased on Wall of Zombies to more closely match the visual, and you can cast it again sooner, or you can just cast in general again sooner after casting Wall of Death. That's good. Zombie Charger, casting animation slightly sped up. You can cast again sooner, so it looks like a lot of some of these skills that are supposed to be like popularized by the sets and things like that are just getting easier to use, better to use, which is good. Some of the runes, it looks like, are getting damage increases. Almost all of them, actually, yeah, across the board. Let's see, passive skills. There's a new passive, Confidence Ritual. You deal 25% additional damage to enemies within 20 yards. But also, you just got a like straight up damage buff passive. Wow, that's really good. I think I saw too that there's another item, maybe we'll get to it at some point, but there's another item that gives you Confidence Ritual. So that's potentially interesting. Let's see, Fierce Loyalty, half of the 30% movement speed bonus is now granted while you have a zombie dog, even if they're in combat. Oh, okay, so I think this was the thing where like if they weren't in combat, then you got like the 30% movement speed, but if they were, you got no movement speed bonus, so I guess you get half of it now even if they are in combat. It's a good change. Spiritual Attunement, mana regen increased 2%, so this is a nerf actually. It was 3% for this patch, now it's down to 2%. On remove, Unstable Anomaly for Wizards got buffed up, so you gain a shield that's up to 400% now, over 300%. Let's see. Fix an issue causing many pets to regenerate less life per second than intended. So it looks like pets are going to be hardier. That's good too. Obviously focused at Witch Doctors, but that also affects all classes too. Bracers are the first men. So obviously like people were... Barbs and bracers, man. Barbs and bracers. So obviously when this first came out, people were using the Hammer of the Ancients to proc the attack speed thing, power from it, and then just using that to like snapshot for Whirlwind and just doing crazy amounts of damage with Whirlwind. So that it was just an improvement to that build already, but obviously this bracer is meant to kind of push forward a Hammer of the Ancients build. So now it specifically targets Hammer of the Ancients, increasing its attack speed. And dealing increased damage. So that's the change on that. Rip Barb Bracers. Where's Mordic's Brace? Hashtag. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. Don't do that. Let's not think about it anymore. It's gone. It's fine. Let's see. Now also, Pride of Cassius extends the duration of Ignore Pain Mob Rule. I guess it didn't previously. I did not know that. So that's cool. That's a good change. Crusaders, nothing really changed, except this isn't in red, but it should be. The Falling Sword damage went up from 250% on the 6-piece bonus of the Seeker of Light, went from 250 to 500%. So I'm curious to test that out, of course, see how much extra damage it'll be worth. Kicking barbs when they're down. I'm sorry, I love barbs, you know that. I've played barbs, been playing barbs, love them, love them. Let's see. We'll look for more strikeouts because it looks like not everything is in red here. So this is pretty big. Obviously, a lot of people were pretty hype on Shenlongs. It was pushing monks like way, way above everyone else, of course. So it looks like the compromise here is that your spirit generators are going to be buffed up for that part of the set bonus. So it goes up to 2% for each point of spirit that you have. But on the other side, this all damage, which used to be increased to 300%, is going down to 100%. So they won't be seeing crazy numbers like they were previously, but I mean, there's a bit of a trade-off here, so We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Still potentially a long PTR to go. Witch Doctor, more changes. They gain 30% damage reduction while channeling fire bats with Coils of the First Spider, which is pretty strong. Jerem's Bracers increase the attack speed of the Wall of Death by 30%, but apparently this is not yet reflected in the item's tooltip. It's just something that you would want to know if you're a Witch Doctor user. Helltooth Harness. So now this is something I remember they were talking about. I think it was Blue Post that let us know that this was coming. So instead of having the Wall of Death proc this necrosis thing that they're trying to push forward with the Helltooth Harness, now it's going to be enemies hit by a certain set of skills. I have a certain set of skills, and when I use them against you, it will give you necrosis. But it's any of the skills listed in the 6-set bonus, and if you go down here, you see the skills listed here are Acid Cloud, Fire Bats, Gargantuan, Grasp of the Dead, Piranhas, Wall of Death, Zombie Charger, and Zombie Dog. So now your pets can actually proc it, which is cool. So yeah, so now they proc the necrosis, and they took the damage down from it actually from 2,500 to 1,000%. Necrosis causes afflicted enemies to take 15% increased damage from all sources. So this is kind of like why, I guess. So you bump this down, but then you actually give this, which is like a buff to the party and all sources of damage. So that's pretty interesting. Buff up for pets as well too. People are talking about the monk stuff real quick. Let's see. It's better for spirit generators. Dashing builds is not going crazy. Trade-off is to keep the generator build and not have dashing build be insane. That makes sense to me. Yep. And even 100% damage is pretty big. Barbs need a 6-set piece to do that. That's true. That's interesting. The 4-piece set did not change for Helltooth. 6-piece set, after casting the Wall of Death, you gain 300% increased damage to all those skills that I just read off previously. So, and this effect can stack to 3 times. That's pretty crazy. So you get up to 900%, looks like. I mean, they're definitely trying to push this set. Like I had mentioned before, like if we leave PTR for patch 2.3 and Witch Doctors aren't doing some good stuff, man, then bad news bears. So this is pretty legit for 12 seconds. Manajuma is going to be the same. Spirit of Erikir, this is like the Spider Queen, the Spider set, if you will. That damage got bumped up to 2,500% for their 2-piece set bonus. So the spider leaves behind webs that deal 2,500% weapon damage per second over 5 seconds. Slows the enemy. Nothing else much was changed except on 6-piece set bonus. The damage of your creature skills went up by 500% multiplier to 800%. It's pretty sick. And then your creature skills are Corpse Spiders, Fire Bats, Hex, Locust Swarm is added in now, Piranhas, and Plague of Toads. Good stuff. Spider Queen's Grasp, nothing changed there, sorry. Suwong Diviner is a new legendary staff. Acid Cloud gains the effect of the Lob Blob Bomb rune, which we had mentioned previously, and it rolls with, wow, 45 to 60% Acid Cloud damage. That's good stuff. Veer set. So a lot of people, were making complaints or suggestions previously that the seasonal belt for the Wizards was going to be like super OP, super necessary. So they just baked it into the set. They said, okay, fine, we understand not everyone wants to play seasons, and we want this Archon set thing to really work out. So boom, instead of you automatically start with your 50 Archon stacks, you just get Fazula's Improbable Chain. So Archon stacks also increase your attack speed, armor, and resistance by 1%. Good stuff there. Witch Doctor Scrimshaw had the legendary power added for it. It reduces the mana cost of Zombie Charger by 30 to 40%, and it rolls with 30 to 40% increased Zombie Charger damage. Wow, that's pretty cool. Scrimshaw's a one-hander too, so that's a lot of increased damage for one skill on a one-hander. Legit. Bane of the Stricken got nerfed, which I think we all saw coming. Everyone that I talked to about it was like, yeah, Bane of the Stricken is like super OP. So it still functions exactly the same, but each level up that you get is down by a factor of 5, I guess is the best way to put it. So before you got 0.1% increase for leveling it up, now you get 0.02%. So, to get what you would get to push it like to level 1 is what you would now get at level 5. It's the best way to think about it. So it takes longer for it to scale up. I mean, it's still going to be a strong gem. It's just not going to be like as crazy snowbally. Let's see. Oh yeah, this happened. So now the new seasonal Crusader belt, the Sacred Harness, it'll actually cast Judgment Debilitate. Like it will just cast that rune of Judgment. So that's cast at your landing location when you cast your Falling Sword, which is pretty cool. And Debilitate, for those who don't know, is a brand new rune that they added for Judgment. And I want to get it exactly right, so I'm actually going to search for it here. Bear with me. So enemies in the judged area deal 40% reduced damage for 6 seconds. So it kind of combos nicely with that 4-piece bonus on Seeker of the Light, where you get the damage reduction internally for yourself after you cast Falling Sword, and then the enemies will be doing reduced damage too if you're wearing that belt. So that's pretty good. A good change. Let's see. Checking the chat real quick. It was a must-have gem. That's a good change. Yeah, definitely. Bane of the OP is OP enough to kill all blues. Yeah, it's pretty OP. I mean, again, like this might not be the end of changes that we see for it all too. So, and so Fazula's Improbable Chain now got a change because it's obviously part of the set now. So, so they basically just exactly changed it. So now you automatically start with 40 to 50 Archon stacks when entering Archon form. So it just got the old 4-piece bonus as its legendary power. Adventure mode changes. Second floor bounties will show the countdown timer when you get to 15 enemies instead of 5. That's a really good change. I've been experiencing that with some of the bounties that I did just before we started reading this thing. Bug fixes. Fixed an issue that prevented players who were in a game where Greater Rift was in progress but were not participating in the Rift from changing their skills. I don't know when this would ever occur, but I guess it was a bug, so it's fixed. Like, why would you be in a game but not participating in a Greater Rift? I don't know. Some crazy things. Reflex damage. This was another sore point from a lot of people that were testing on the PTR. It was really, really strong. Of course, they changed it from what we knew it in live, so the damage had been bumped up, but only like one monster inside of the pack could have Reflex up at any one time, but it would like rotate among all the different mobs. So now it has a warning visual for a short time before it deals damage, so it kind of gives you a heads up. It reflects the damage of the same type that you deal to it, and this is actually a really interesting change because that means you can now actually work against it, or create ways to work around it. So if you know that your build is primarily lightning, you take a Zephyrian amulet, and now reflex damage does nothing to you. You're going to be absorbing that damage that's reflecting back at you. So it's actually a very safe fix. So there are ways to now kind of gear to work against it, which is cool. And it now has a very short internal cooldown, so it should be a little bit easier to deal with. Ascandio got some changes, got buffs to his deadliness. Wave attack range has been increased, and the wave attack now has a longer animation before it's cast. And I literally just fought Razel before I started reading this, and so its Electrified affix was removed, which is awesome for all of us melee characters that have to stand next to Rift Guardians to kill them. So now it actually doesn't spit out Electrified every time you hit it. Instead, they kind of moved it to its Lightning Storm attack that it does. So it spits out that Lightning Storm. It creates like that little circle area of lightning damage, and then all the little strikes that the lightning does shoot out charged bolts, basically. So that's kind of what I just summed up from all of this. And it casts the lightning storms more frequently, but when below 75% health. It won't have 2 lightning storms active at once anymore. The lightning storm strikes more time per cast, and the lightning storm ground visual persists for the entire duration of the attack. So that's pretty cool. And lastly, this is the last change. They fixed an issue that caused Ascandiel's wave attack to hit players standing behind him at very close range. So that's pretty good to know too. Whenever you were like trying to play the spacing game with Ascandiel, it made it so that if you were behind, you could actually still get hit while the thing was in front of him. Like, it was kind of weird. So now, when you see it happening in front of him, you know that is the zone of the damage. And that's it for the changes. So, I mean, again, I've kind of been harping on it. I think there will be more changes as we go along. This is just the first patch to the PTR. I would not be surprised if we see at least one more before it's over. It's only been a couple weeks of PTR, and I would imagine this is going to go for at least a month, if not longer. So stay tuned. Keep grinding away, testing things out, and obviously like our feedback matters a lot because a lot of these changes were things that the community was very vocal about. Thanks you guys for watching. I'll see you soon.